Today we are learning laced trellis, not to be confused with interlaced trellis, which is something entirely different that we've already learned. Huzzah for running out of words, but in all fairness, I didn't name this one. Laced trellis can be a little confusing the first couple times you try it, but I'll try to give you all of my tricks for getting it right. Start with a trellis stitch. That's the easy part. Now before we start lacing, turn your piece so that you're looking at the trellis on a diagonal, seeing diamonds instead of squares. We'll be weaving our thread around the cross points rather than across either of the straight rows themselves, jumping between 2 rows of cross points with each lacing. Come up right beside the first leg on the edge of your shape, then slide your needle underneath it in a sort of outward direction, away from the cross point. Then our thread goes over the cross point and we slide our needle underneath the next leg, the other side of this V if you will, in the opposite direction. The last slide was downward-ish, so this one is upward. Since this is a partial bit here, not a full row, I'll then go back through the fabric next to this leg. Moving on to the first full row of the trellis, we'll again come up next to the very outer leg and slide our needle underneath it, again downward or towards yourself. Taking the thread over that cross point, we then slide under the next leg upward or away from yourself. Now we take the thread over the cross point above, placing a second thread next to that first one. In the end, every cross point should have 2 threads laying across it horizontally like this. Continue weaving across the row, downward, then upward with each new leg. The thing that most helped me remember where to weave next is this. You should never be sliding your needle underneath the same piece of thread twice in a row. So it can be rather automatic after sliding downward under this thread to then slide upward under this section here. But that is the same ground thread you just went under. Instead, you should be sliding upward under the crossing thread, then downward under the ground thread again, and so on. After a bit of practice, the pattern will become second nature. Another note for this stitch, don't pull too tightly on your weaving thread as you go, or you'll compress the trellis underneath and your final look won't be the same. And here is our finished laced trellis. Don't forget about those border stitches. And we're done!